This is a 2025 Hyundai Santa Cruz.
You know, one of the things I think looking at this truck, so first off, this is the SEL Activity all-wheel drive. This is clearly a SUV truck. This is not your standard built on a large truck frame. This is built on the Santa Fe frame, and they, instead of giving you that teardrop kind of look on the end where it just kind of slopes off, you're getting a truck bed here in the back. Before we fully jump into the review, quick thanks to Blaise Alexander, Hyundai, and Mazda down here in State College, PA. If you're in the market for these brands of cars and plenty of used cars as well, feel free to stop by Blaise Alexander here in State College, Pennsylvania. This is not meant for, at least from now, going through this whole review and going through and looking at this vehicle, I think I've come to the conclusion that this is not a truck for the everyday tradesman. This is not a truck for the guy who does a lot of projects. I believe this truck is geared towards the weekend warriors. This truck really is the perfect weekend warrior vehicle. You have a small bed, and it's perfect for the Facebook pickups that are too big for an SUV. We're going to pick up a new fridge, and I don't want to have to call somebody with a truck to pick it up. This is great for, I'm throwing all of my kids' sporting goods here in the back and not having to worry about it darting up the carpets. This is good for the beach days where you might not want to throw it in the back because the back of your SUV has carpeting, and this is just a regular bed. I think this is the perfect thing of, well, I've always had an SUV, but I like the idea of an open bed. I think this hits that niche better than something like the Ford Maverick does, where the Ford Maverick feels like still a regular truck. I see regular tradesmen using that truck. I could never see somebody who actually is working jobs. Like if you, every day, you work a 9-to-5 as a carpenter, this truck won't do it. It just won't. It's not designed for it. It's not in the language of the design. The bed isn't big enough. But that's not who I think should be buying this. Now, we can go over the inside of the bed, right? You're getting a somewhat small bed, but still usable space in there. You have a built-in tonneau cover on this particular model. The SEL all the way at the bottom does not get this, but you can get this on this particular one, the SEL Activity all-wheel drive. Now, when I did this review, the actual tonneau cover got stuck, and I was concerned about this, and I'm going to try to throw up a couple things here, because this is not just, oh, hey, this was this dealer, this model, this whatever. This has been a potential issue, and on the 2025, this has been an issue for the other variants in previous years, and seems to be an issue now. So something that I was a little worried about, the idea that, you build this tonneau cover that rolls into itself into a little box, which takes up bed space. I think it's a cool concept. I don't love it. I think as a concept, it's very neat, but in, like, for example, in an area where the temperature fluctuates a lot, like Pennsylvania, where I live, this is something that I was a little worried about. And in this particular review, actually, it would not go back beyond the halfway point. I tried, am I using the thing wrong? Am I using the little latch wrong? And I wasn't. And then I even made a comment. I'm like, maybe it's just this particular car in front of me. And then I looked it up, and there's a lot of people who have issues. Now, the other thing is a lot of them, they said they took it to their dealer and they got it fixed. So if you did buy this, at least you take it to the dealer and get it fixed. I think it's cool when it works. I think it needs a little bit fleshing out, or it just needs to be a roll top cover. I don't like the idea of it going into this little box. Like, what happens when dirt or grime, or say, you live in a salty area and some salt gets on top, and then that goes into your box. So you just, how do you clean that out? I don't really love it. In terms of bed space, I think you get a lot. You get little LED headlights or tail lights here inside the bed, plenty of little compartments. And you get this cool drain, which I think is great. So like, I mean, there are plenty of times where you pull the truck up to a tailgate or something and you want to have drinks in there. You can have it in like kind of built-in cooler, and you don't have to worry about like, how do I get the water out? There's just a drain. I think it's cool. I think it's great. There's like these built-in cup holders too on the tailgate that are kind of whatever. They're not deep enough to really hold anything. They're just there for, hey, put your drink here. And I mean, that's the real selling point of this SUV truck, right? It's the truck part. You have the little rails for tying stuff down, tie down points all over the place. I think it's good for what it is. I think it's smart. I think it's geared towards a specific buyer. Now, what about the rest of it though? Because yeah, you have a cool truck bed, but what about the interior, for example? And I think if we go on the inside, the back seat, I was a little like, I don't want to say disappointed, but it's tight back there. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of tight back there. It definitely feels a little cramped. When I had the front seat in a pretty normal seating position for me, and I, as a 5'7" guy, felt pretty cramped back in that space. And I think I made a comment during it. I'm like, you have one pocket, which I think is kind of sad. Whatever, you don't need dual pockets, but for something that's like going to be a quote family hybrid, I'm going to call it that. Like you would use this as a family / weekender car / truck. I would think that's how you would use it. I would think I'd want pockets back there. Now maybe the idea is that you'd put something on the back there like an entertainment center, whatever, a Carhartt backing, something like that. But overall, like this space, I was a little like it felt very cramped back there, but it felt doable. Definitely didn't feel like I would want to spend like a 6-hour road trip back there, but it was comfy enough for an hour or 2 hours, I would feel like. And then you don't really have much back here. You have 2 cup holders in the middle. You have that little back window. There isn't much going on in the back seat, which is fine. You don't have to have much going on back there for that stuff. You have the air vents. You do have charging. You have all that kind of stuff. Let's look up front. And I'm going to put an overlay here of what the old car was back in 2024 and what the new one is. I think they've done a major update. I think this looks great. It feels great. I've not sat in an older one. I think that's one of my next things. I want to find a 2024 Santa Cruz to feel the update, but this looks a lot better. Overall, this definitely feels like a major update. And everything kind of works very well. The steering wheel kind of has this like sharp cut at the bottom. It feels comfortable to spin. Everything feels kind of in the right place. I don't love the capacitive touch buttons in the middle, but I am still happy that it is not all touchscreen controls. You still can control your temperature, your fans, all of that stuff from the center, and there's still knobs, and I love that, and that needs to stay. When I will rue the day when I can't do the volume with a knob. That said, plenty of options here, plenty of buttons. Everything feels very well laid out. Plenty of charging options. You have your cigarette lighter, your 12 volt. You have wireless charging here, USB-C, 2 nice sized cup holders, a very sizable center console. You have the door cup holders that are kind of like those weird ones that they don't really fit anything really nice size, but they're there. Perfect for throwing an umbrella or something like that in. You have these air vents that take up like a huge amount of space, and you have this little like pocket up in the middle. Like it almost at first glance, it looks like it's just like flat, and there's like a pocket in there that you as the passenger can like put your phone or tablet and stuff like that in there. And it's like a nice little recessed area, but snacks. I think that's a nice little design language piece. The steering wheel's nothing. The steering wheel's kind of different now. Like they have like this bar, and I looked at other Hyundais when I was in the showroom at Blaise Alexander where we're reviewing this, and yeah, like they're all kind of moving to this. It's kind of interesting. It's an interesting style of steering wheel. It felt okay. It's like not like a fake pleather, but it's like a synthetic texture. The seats themselves also mentioned on this the SEL Activity all-wheel drive, the trim I was looking at, did have that leatherette like fake pleather seating. Now the driver's seat and passenger seat feel very comfortable, and that's something I was like, ooh, this is a stark difference than the back seat. The front seats feel very comfortable. They cup you very well. I was like, I could drive this for hours and be very happy. So plenty to work with there. I felt like the seats are very plush, very comfy. Big disappointment, no taco holder. Very sad. There's no taco holder here. You do get a sunroof, and then you plenty of the safety features. I'm going to throw up a graphic with it now of everything you get on this particular vehicle: blind spot monitoring and the like, collision avoidance, all the stuff you're used to. I think I have a video here as well of the rear view camera. You don't get any 360 camera or anything, but you do have a rear view that does have lines that move with your wheel, which is very nice. The one thing I'll note about this car truck hybrid thing was the steering radius felt kind of short, and I was like I was trying to turn into a spot to park this truck, and I was like, this feels kind of short, like even shorter than I'm used to my Nissan Frontier. I have a 2015 Nissan Frontier, and that already feels kind of short, like as a short throw. It doesn't like to turn into spots very easy. It's kind of odd like that, but I deal with it. This felt worse than that, and I was very confused. I'm like, am I doing something wrong? And if that's just the feel, then that so be it. But I was like, this is kind of odd turning this in. The other thing too is the backup camera is a very wide field of view. Like, I was very confused. I'm like, okay, these cars look very far away, but then I look in the mirror and they're ridiculously close. And it's just a very fisheye type of view. It's not that flat, so you really can see to the ends, which is good on one hand, but you got to get used to it if you're used to a more flat-looking backup camera like I am. The touchscreen, very responsive. Very responsive. This goes back and forth very quick. It does not, I don't have any complaints about that. It doesn't feel like garbage infotainment. It feels like a normal screen that is supposed to work. I think we've gone away from the years where, and I'll probably, when I start reviewing older cars, I'll start to see this, is the years of like garbage infotainment that just takes forever to load. There was a reason that everybody wanted Apple CarPlay and Android Auto standard on these cars. It's because car infotainment has been terrible for years. And I think automakers are finally starting to de-bloat and make it quicker and faster and do better, I think, just in general. So it's a very nice thing to see here. Overall, this truck gets a pretty good thumbs up from me for the most part. I think, again, it's very niche. It's more niche than I thought it was going to be. I really went into this thinking, this is going to be the real, like, make or break, like this, or not the make or break, but like just a cool truck, and it's everybody should be buying this truck. This is the truck to get. No, this is very niche. It's cool on the outside. I didn't even really talk much about the exterior because it's a truck. It's very reminiscent of the Honda Ridgeline. It feels very, you look at it and you're like, that's an SUV. And there's a lot of people that go, that's not a real truck. I hear that all the time. And well, yes, like I kind of like it's technically a truck. It's got a bed. Was the Baja not a truck? Some people don't think it is, but I think it was. And it looks, I'm just gonna cover it straight. I'm gonna call it what it is. It's a nice looking vehicle. It's very aggressive. I think it's not as aggressive as maybe what like Chevy's doing, but it feels very forward thinking with the design language. I like the angles on the car. The front grille is very appealing. I like the lighting that they've done built into the grille. It's a very nice car slash truck slash thing. But it's really only going to be geared towards those who really like the bed. I think a lot of like moms toting kids around to sports practices may just want like a regular SUV, but I could see them also, this could be an entryway to be like, hey, we got, like dirty stuff, like filled with dirt and camping gear. This would be a better option, right? So yeah, I think it's a good vehicle. I very much like it. I want to see what Hyundai is going to do in the future with it. I really hope they don't give up on it. It's been a couple years, 2022, 23, 24, 25. We've had these, every year so far. I really hope they don't get rid of it. I think there is a market for this, and we're seeing that with other smaller trucks. And like Honda's always had the Ridgeline as an option, but like it was either the Ridgeline or like going to like a Ford Ranger, and that's still like a truck. That's a truck. This is very much riding that line. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. You can tell me in the comments below. This is a very different video than what I'm used to because I laid out all my thoughts. I like to lay it out kind of as I see it while we're going through the vehicle. and the audio was just terrible. Thank you for bearing with me on this one. We're back to hopefully normal content starting next week, and we'll have some cool stuff. But yeah, no, I think I'm definitely going to be revisiting, and I want to see like the limited trim and some of the other, even like the base model, because I'm curious what a base model on this would look like. This is a very interesting vehicle, and I got my eye on it. It's very cool. If you're interested in getting one of these, huge shout out to Blaise Alexander here in State College. They were so gracious and let me check out this vehicle. And if you're interested in any Mazdas or Hyundais, come on down to State College. Give them a look if you're in the State College area. They were super nice, super professional, and really gracious about letting me check this car out. So thanks again to Blaise Alexander. And yeah, I can't wait to see you in the next one. Subscribe for more weekly vehicle reviews, and I'll see you in the next one.